Eagles are just 2 games below 500, 10 weeks into the season. Are you worried about the 76ers and their potential to go on a long playoff run? And finally, who won the National League Manager of the Year? Stay tuned. You're going to want to see this one. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the More Than Philly Sports Network for another great week of sports. My name is Zach Starr. I am happy to be here with all of you today, 6:33 p.m. here on the East Coast on the 16th of November in 2021. A little bit over a week again away from Thanksgiving, which means, Gavin, pull out the Christmas hats after next week, and then we are good to go. We're in the clear. 101.1 already has the Christmas music going. I wouldn't say I'm in the Christmas mood yet. I'm trying to get out and play as much golf as I can. It's going to be 60 degrees the next 2 days, so I'll be out there. Got a big match coming up this weekend, so I got a lot of work to do because I've not been out there a lot at all. But, Gavin, back on. How we doing today?
Doing good. And listen, the Christmas music I've been playing for me since the start of November. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Halloween, so Halloween was pretty much nothing for me. And November 1st, I started music. But Zach, I'm excited to be here. It's gonna be a fun one. We got a lot to talk about. But that match coming up, who are you playing against? It's not against me, ladies and gentlemen. It's not against me.
Yeah, it's supposed to be me and my good friend James. We play each other like crazy the last year and a half. He's been up at Penn State. I was up there this weekend. We'll go into that in a little bit. Go over the Penn State game as well because there are some questionable decisions that were made in that game. But nonetheless, too cold this weekend to play up there, so we did not play. I'll be home this weekend.
Excuses.
It's going to be warming up. Listen, 39 degrees is my cutoff. I wish I could get out there and play more, but just given my schedule, given all the circumstances lately, we just haven't been able to play. This weekend it's going to be 45 degrees. It's going to be chilly. Sunday 52, so maybe we'll get out then. But 61 to 66 the next 2 days. So I'll be out there practicing. I got to find some time in my schedule, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be
good. How cold was it up there?
It was in the mid to low 30s, and I was outside for probably 7-8 hours straight. And it was snowing. We had snow both days.
It's like, didn't you just buy a new Puma hoodie? Don't you got jackets? I mean, I would have toughed it out. I would have 18. I was at 9 maybe.
At halftime, it was very cold. It was very cold.
I'm not the one to talk, ladies and gentlemen. I was sitting outside for a good 35 minutes yesterday waiting for a class, and I regretted every decision I made that during that time.
Hey, listen, we're here. We got a lot to go over. Let's start with it. The Philadelphia Eagles. Man, oh man, was that fun to watch. Gavin, the last 3 weeks, they've been a competent football team. I said last week, what's wrong with Philly media? You lost a close game to a team much more talented than you.
And
this week, a team that was expected to win. Honestly, they were. They looked terrible against the Philadelphia Eagles. 30-13 final score. Jalen Hurts, 16 to 23, 178 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. On the ground, Jordan Howard, 12 carries, 83 yards. Boston Scott, 11 carries, 81 yards. Jalen Hurts, 14 carries, 53 yards. Kenny Gainwell, 2 carries, 5 yards. Devontae Smith, 4 receptions for 66 yards, including a pair of touchdowns. This is the third week in a row the Eagles have ran the ball more than 25 times. And Gavin is starting to look good. You've had Nick Sirianni on the hot seat early in the season. I said, let's wait a minute. There's a lot to go down. And the Eagles don't have back-to-back bad seasons usually. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up because this team is wildly inconsistent. And I still have questions about Jalen Hurts, which, by the way, Jalen Hurts, the passer, is the best he's looked all season. His footwork looked great this week. His decision-making was quick and efficient. He looked like he was going through a couple of his progressions, so maybe he's getting better. It's still too early for me to say that I like Jalen Hurts or not. It's still way too early. But take a look at their next few games. They play New Orleans, which is beatable. The New York Giants beat them in overtime, and they're very banged up. Trevor Siemian is the quarterback. The Giants, the Jets, Washington, the Giants, Washington, and Dallas. If they were to win out, Gavin, which they're not going to, they'd be 11-6. If they drop 2 of those games, they're 9-8. That might not be good enough to make the playoffs this year, but 9-8 in a rebuild year is pretty damn good. They went 4-11-1 last year. They're 4-6 at the moment, and their schedule is just going to get easier. They played the Niners this year, which are a better team than their record shows. They played Dallas this year, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, Las Vegas, Los Angeles. It's been a tough schedule. It's been a really tough schedule. And this is a new coach and it's a young quarterback still in his rookie season, technically speaking. Young
I don't
wide
want to hear
receiving
that. I don't
core,
want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
a lot of injuries. I like the direction this team is moving in. I like they're starting to find an identity. They're a running team with a quarterback that needs to be able to make big time throws, and if he can make those throws, this is going to work. Am I sold on Nick Sirianni? No. It's still way too early to tell. It's only 10 games. Am I sold on Jalen Hurts? No. It's only been 10 games. Am I sold on Gannon? No.
Oh
He's
no.
been very inconsistent, very bad in a lot of cases. It's still too early to judge Gavin. And there's still 7 more games this season. Let's see where they go.
Well, Zach, first of all, these last 2 weeks, your formula has worked. When you run the ball more than 25 plus times, the Eagles win. Zach, they didn't win last week, but they're more competitive. Jalen Hurts is not a quarterback that's going to beat you with his arm. All right, let's get that out the way. He's not going to beat you with his arm. He's not going to pass for 300 yards for 3 touchdowns. Zach, he's not going to do Mahomes like pre-Mahomes to this year. He's not going to do that. Mahomes is a guy. Wrong quarterback. Jalen Hurts is a guy that you need to run the football with. You need to make the game as easy as possible. You need to keep the defense on his toes. When you have Jalen Hurts sitting back passing for 30 plus times and he's not completing that many passes, no defense. He's not going to win it with his arm. Zach, when you run the ball, they ran the ball 40 times this past week. Zach, 40 times. Jordan Howard averaged 6.9 yards on the ground. Boston Scott, 7.4 yards on the ground. And Jalen Hurts, it was 3.8 yards, but they all respectively had 50 plus yards. It's like if they can continue to do this, they may or not win the game. It's like you said earlier, this young team, they're going to lose a lot of heartbreaking games. We saw it last week. This week was the opposite, different story. But keep running the football. Give your quarterback a chance to look good. And actually, it gives your defense a break. It gives your trash defensive coordinator a time to actually use his brain, which Zach, I actually don't think he has one. But I can't throw shots this weekend because they only gave up 13 points to the Denver Broncos. But, Zach, Jalen Hurts had his best game Sunday. Now, you can look at the stats. It's a 16-23 passing, passing 178 yards, 7 yards per average, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's fine. Look at it that way. But if you just watch the game without using the stats, you say, wow, he looked better in the pocket. He looked comfortable in the pocket than he had.
He stepped up for the first time, so I was so impressed. The pocket was collapsing around him. Instead of stepping out of it, he stepped up in it and made a good throw.
Exactly. That's improvement. Am I sold on him? I need to see a little bit more. Do I think the Eagles need to go and go get a quarterback next year? No. Use your 3 first-round picks to get defensive talent. Zach, there's an opportunity that this Eagles team has, and I was looking at it last Sunday, that they're set up to have before the weekend start, it was 2 top 10 picks, right? I think one was actually back-to-back, to be exact. I can't remember.
I think 6 and 7, Philly and Miami.
And then it was going to be in 11 or 13. I think it was 13 for the next pick. Now, that's perfect. If Jalen Hurts is the answer for at least this year, I mean, Zach, who's coming out this year that you want as a quarterback? Nobody.
Spencer Rattler.
Don't talk about something. They lost this weekend. It's like, oh no, this is a good weekend for the Philadelphia Eagles offensively. And Devontae Smith, happy birthday. 2 touchdowns over your former teammate, too. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, that was a great catch overall. Yeah, I mean, this was a great game. Great team win. And that's how it's been this year. With the exception of the Panthers game, every single win has been a great team win from all sides of the ball. Atlanta, dominant win. I mean, the Eagles have won 3 blowouts this year. What team that's supposedly tanking wins 3 blowouts?
This is not a tanking team. This is a competitive team. I would say it's not. If you look at the teams, like this is supposed to be tanking, but this is really competitive, guys. Zach, you have guys in this locker room that want to win, they say, hey, we don't care about the draft stats. We want to win. Jalen Hurts, competitor. Devontae Smith, competitor. Your running backs, competitor. Your head coach came in and he said he wants to challenge you in the rock, paper, scissors his first day there. I thought it was stupid, but Zach, that's competitor. That's competitive nature. And as long as the team continues to run the football, limit the turnovers, Zach, they only had, 2 this past weekend? Fumble and an interception, I think.
Did they have a fumble? I think they just had a pick.
Okay, well, limit the turnovers and continue to keep your defense off the field and keep putting points up. In the red zone, you got to be more effective. Zach, earlier in the year, I said you get to the red zone, you shoot yourself in the foot with penalties, and you end up with 3.
And those are down 2. Penalties are down as a whole.
And those 3s are turning into 7s now. So that's a big improvement.
Just looking up teams with the most penalties right now. See where the Eagles rank. Eagles are down to 4th in the league with 70 penalties. Carolina, Dallas, and Cleveland all ahead of them. Gavin, they're trending in the right direction with discipline and penalties. They're putting up more points every week. They're running the ball more. The wide receiving core is looking better, at least all of them minus Red, really. The O-line's looking better every week with the same guys on it. And they're winning games now. So where do you stand today on head coach Nick Sirianni?
Where I stand today with Nick Sirianni, the same as always. It's like, I'm not going to change my opinion on Nick Sirianni because consistency is our biggest thing. We stress that. He's looked good for the past, 3 weeks now. I want to see him do it for the rest of the year. I'm going to give him a break now because he had an unfair start to the start of the season. I mean, Tampa, the Chiefs. Who else was in there? The Raiders.
The 49ers.
But the 49ers, the Dallas Cowboys. Now you're in the back half of the season where you play your division rivals twice. And I think and then you got New Orleans next week, who is disarmed. Like, if he can get us to 9-8, I'll be okay with that, and he can stay for another year. Now, Jonathan Gannon on the other side, that's another conversation for another day.
I mean, 3 weeks in a row, he held a team to 7 points or 6 points, 24 and then 13. And that 24 was against a really good, or 27 against a really good Los Angeles Chargers team. So I don't know. I see improvement the last few weeks. Give these guys time to evaluate. There's no rush during this season. And at the end of the year, we'll see where we stand. But Gavin, your number is 9-8. Anywhere within 2 or 3 games of 500 on either side, I'm happy with.
I'll take it. It's like I just want to say one thing. Nick Sirianni, why you throwing shots at Westchester, man? Relax.
He wasn't throwing shots at Westchester. He was using that as a reference.
Okay, could use a better reference than that.
I mean, we're not the country, but
we're not a country. You could have said Lancaster or something.
Yeah, somewhere out there. Nonetheless, games this week, the best segment of the week around the NFL, where Gavin and I describe each game in a sentence or less. Gavin, Thursday Night Football, Baltimore, Miami. I mean, I can't even come up with something for this. Geez, this was a shocker. That's all I got.
Damn. I that's the best way to put this. Oh, damn. I mean, Zach, Lamar Jackson, there was a stat that said Lamar Jackson, he's undefeated versus Miami. And Miami took it personal. They went into the house, they took care of business, and they lost. They'll be back on track next week.
Well, I will see again. Baltimore Ravens falling 22-10 after a short week on Thursday. Saints, Titans, 6-game winning streak. Second one without Derrick Henry. Gavin, are the Titans still legit?
I don't think so, Zach. It's because the injuries to your vets. You don't got Derrick Henry. Julio Jones is now out for 3 weeks. I like Ryan Tannehill, and that defense is still, in my opinion, a question mark. You have to respect them, but I don't think they're legit.
I will see again. 6-game winning streak. Second one without Derrick Henry. We'll see as the Colts try to chase them in their division. Bills, Jets, 45-17. Mike White did not look as good as he did the first 2 weeks he was out there. Clear that he will not be their quarterback of the future. They'll go back to Zach Wilson when he's healthy. Bills have been dominant, especially after that Jaguars loss. They needed a win like this.
Mike White got beat black and blue. It was ugly. That game shouldn't have been on red zone. Take it off. The Bills had a bounce back week. Zach, I'm not going to rave about it. It's the Jets. That's all. The Jets just got destroyed in their own home. I feel bad for Jets fans, Zach. I really do.
Yeah, the Bills continue to have their number. Next game on our list, Lions-Steelers. A tie. Pretty predictable. Gavin predicted the Lions would win. No Big Ben out there. The Lions are Jared Goff is just straight terrible. He's just a terrible quarterback.
So can we just go back? I wish we could pull up the messages. I don't have them right here. What did I text you? I think it was 1 o'clock on Sunday. What did I say to you?
You said that the Lions would beat the Steelers.
And I was so close.
Missed field goal. Jared Goff's inability to do anything.
I root for Dan Campbell. I really do. I'm just rooting for Dan Campbell now. This is sad, but I'll be honest with you. Neither team deserved to win on Sunday. I was rooting for the Lions just for the fun and because my cousin is a Steelers fan, but neither team deserves to win that one. That was ugly.
Yes, they stay winless during 10 weeks. 8-1 is their record. Colts, Jags. The score looked closer than the game actually was. Colts were in control the whole time. Jonathan Taylor is making a pretty big run, no pun intended, for Offensive Player of the Year.
Zach, I think he might be the best running back in the game right now. That's my number one running back in the game right now. Regardless of injuries, we're talking about consistency. He's been doing it for a whole month now. The offense looks fantastic. They're healthy. Carson Wentz actually was having his best career year in touchdown interception ratio. They're going to keep getting better.
That's true. We'll see how they continue. Buccaneers, Washington, Heineke's revenge. Buccaneers have a lot of injuries right now to their team. They'll be fine, but Washington gets their revenge in Washington. Taylor Heineke looked good.
Zach, Washington gets revenge at what cost? You lost arguably one of the best pass rushers in the game. That's going to hurt Washington going down the road. For defense always struggling, it's going to get worse. Zach, Tom Brady looked old on Sunday.
And not for long. He tends to bounce back after these. Browns, Patriots. Bill Belichick turning the team around. They have that final playoff spot. Mac Jones looking pretty good, Gavin.
Stop the press. I don't want to hear about no Mac Jones. I don't want to hear about none of that. It was against one-arm bandit Baker Mayfield. And I dare anyone to sit here and tell me.
He wasn't playing their defense.
Hold on. I dare someone to sit here today, especially in the comment section, and tell me that Odell Beckham Jr. was the problem. Ladies and gentlemen, you couldn't get anything done. The one-arm bandit. Oh, and by the way, Zach.
3 TDs, no interceptions, 142.1 passer rating for Mac Jones.
If Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt was there, the run game would look better than it did. I don't want to hear that.
Mac Jones put up 45 points on that defense.
Mac Jones did not do anything.
3 touchdown passes. That's passer rating of his career.
I'm not sold.
Had a better day on Sunday than Tom Brady against a better defense.
I'm not sold. I'm really not sold.
Above 500 for the first time since early last year. That's the New England Patriots again over the Cleveland Browns. Dallas Cowboys over the Atlanta Falcons 43-3. Good bounce back week for Dallas after a shocking loss to Denver last week. Dallas Cowboys back on track.
See, Zach, I love how Cowboys fans are hooting and hollering about beating the Calvin Ridley-less Falcons, the Matty standing statue ice Falcons. Zach, there's nothing to be proud about. I mean, you ran up the score against a bad team. Congratulations. Woohoo. But I will say this. The holiday season's coming around, Zach. You know what Stephen A. Smith says. I'm waiting for it. I hope it happens. The great collapse.
All right, we're waiting again. Next Thursday will be Thanksgiving games. Dallas playing. Of course, Detroit's playing. I don't know who that third game is, but we'll see when the time comes. Next game, Carolina and Arizona. The big news of the week last week, Cam Newton returning to Carolina. Gavin, let's talk about that real quick before we get to the game. Interesting. Welcome home, Cam. It's only been a year, but I'm sure it felt pretty good for Cam Newton to be back out there on Sunday.
Zach, it just feels right. That's where he should be, and that's where he should have been all along. The experiment of him going somewhere else did not work well. And when he yelled, "I'm back," Zach, I felt like the whole entire league was waiting for him to score. Zach, this team is going to make some noise. I don't know if they're going to make playoffs or not because how tough the NFC South is with the Saints and Bucks neck and neck. But the future, if they keep him around, bye-bye Sam Darnold.
Yeah, that experiment ended pretty quickly. Cam Newton expected to start this coming week. He had just gotten there Friday, so not too big of a surprise that he didn't start, but had a nice touchdown pass to Robbie Anderson and a pretty impressive rushing touchdown. 34-10 over a banged-up Arizona Cardinals team. Vikings-Chargers. Vikings finally getting a win. Chargers falling 27-20. Are the Chargers too volatile, Gavin, to be a serious contender in the playoffs?
I think so, Zach, because it's just inconsistency. They're losing games where games they should be winning. Your defense is too talented, and Justin Herbert is talented, and you have a rookie head coach. I understand this is going to be growing pains for him in the future, but I'm not counting them out. It's like I'm not counting them out. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I don't think they're going to make serious runs. If they make it to the playoffs, they're going to be a one and done.
Without a doubt. And don't look now, though. With that loss, And with their win on Sunday, the Kansas City Chiefs are back where they belong. First place in the AFC West. We'll talk about that in a little bit with the Chiefs game. But the next game, Packers, Seahawks, Russell Wilson returns to action. But the Packers, 17-0 shutout. The power rankings have the Packers as the best team in the NFL. A lot going on surrounding Aaron Rodgers. But did he silence some haters on Sunday?
I would think so, Zach, because that was a tough game to play. You were on the COVID list. You missed a week. You come back, was it Friday or Saturday? You prepare against a supposed to be good team. He silenced a few haters when it came to the football side of it, but Zach, we know the situation at hand is larger than football.
That doubt, but an interesting week for Green Bay. For them, probably feels good to win. Winning fixes everything, as everyone says. And the game on Sunday Night Football, 41-14. Patrick Mahomes, 35 of 50, 406 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Travis Kelce, 8 receptions, 119 yards. Darrell Williams, 9 receptions for 101 yards. Man, I wish I started him in fantasy. I benched him at last minute. But Tyreek Hill, 7 receptions, 83 yards, 2 touchdowns. Gavin, are we able to relax now and acknowledge that Chiefs are getting back to where they need to be?
No. Because it's the Raiders defense. And the Raiders defense, and with everything going on with the Raiders, I'm surprised that the Raiders can still suit up and play football. I mean, come on. Let's go back to last Sunday. You get rid of your corner because he threatened somebody over social media. We know the Henry Ruggs situation. We know the disgusting situation with John Gruden. I'm not sold on the Chiefs, but I will say this: to have your quarterback talk about his play, and for him to come out and do that is a little eye raising. I'm shocked that it came out. I don't think this is going to happen every week, but they look like them also. I guess winning does fix everything, but the problem is so at large. You don't run the football. It's like they only ran the football 25 times, and they only averaged 3.9 yards per carry. That was the main runner.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's how the Chiefs do it, though. And it's worked in the past. Maybe they just had a bad break in the middle of the season, a lot of turnovers early in the year. Maybe they'll start cleaning up. Let's see. Good start in the right direction. Good feeling for Chiefs fans. And finally, more breaking news in the last week that we are now going to cover. Odell Beckham Jr. cut by the Cleveland Browns, picked up by the Los Angeles Rams just for what happened last night. 31-10. San Francisco somehow still in the mix at 4-5. Matt Stafford, 26 of 41, 243, a touchdown, and a pair of picks. Cooper Kupp had himself a Cooper Kupp-like day. But Jimmy Garoppolo, 15 of 19, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns. Eli Mitchell, 27 carries for 91 yards. And Deebo Samuel having 97 yards in the air and a touchdown. That's their formula. They're starting to get healthy again. Is San Fran back in the mix, Gavin? And are you worried about Los Angeles? Because I sure as hell am.
Well, Zach, first of all, San Francisco has to stay consistent. Injuries has been a thing always, and I think the Rams and the Cardinals are just so far ahead, and it's going to be hard for them to catch up, especially in the NFC West. Now, they could sneak in and get a wild card spot, but I don't think they're going to make any noise. And Zach, to answer your question about the Rams, let's pump the brakes. Offensively, Matthew Stafford has to realize that there's more than just one person to just Cooper Kupp on the field. They need to go back to running the football a little bit more, Zach. I would like to see running the football. They don't really have a true runner, but in the 10 times they ran the ball, Darrell Henderson averaged 6.2 yards per carry, and Sonny Michel had 5 yards per carry on 4 rushes and 5 carries for Darrell Henderson. Run the football, and Matthew Stafford, please, for the love of everything, I get it. You and Cooper Kupp, you're like this. But, I mean, you got other wide receivers. You do. Van Jefferson's not a scrub, even though he dropped a couple passes. OBJ, I get it. He was there. He got there on a Friday, played on a Monday, so I wasn't really expecting much with OBJ. But, damn. The defense, though, Zach, before I let you go, the defense, they can't stop the run. You can have all the nice names you want, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, you can't stop the run. They don't have big bodies to clog up the hole, and the 49ers took it to them head on.
Hey, listen, this is what it's looking like right now. You mentioned San Francisco's chances of making the playoffs. In the NFC, 1 seed Packers, 2 seed Cardinals, 3 Cowboys, 4 Buccaneers, 5 Rams, 6 Saints at 5-4, and the Carolina Panthers at 5-5. Gavin, the Niners only a half game out of the playoff spot. So it's possible. Let's see how it works out. But that is around the NFL. The playoff picture, I know it's still very early in the year, but it's just good to keep an eye on it every now and then. Again, the Philadelphia Eagles will be playing on Sunday against the New Orleans Saints in Philadelphia, looking for their first win of the season at home. Surprisingly, they have yet to win at home. But Thursday night, Gavin, Patriots, Falcons in Atlanta. It is a revenge game for Matt Ryan against a different quarterback, Mac Jones. But Mac Jones is winning Offensive Rookie of the Year, so it doesn't matter.
I will say this, Zach. First of all, to touch on the Eagles thing, I'll be in attendance, so we're winning. Zach, we're winning. I checked my record. I'm above 500 when I go to Eagles games. All right, so we're winning this Sunday. Mark my words. Mark my words, Zach.
I'm 0-3 this year so far. So,
hey, Zach, if I win and you're in attendance, that means you'll be 1-4. But it took, or excuse me, 1-3. But
1-3.
It took me to be there in the stadium. But Zach, and then Mac Jones versus Matt Ryan, that's cool. Stop putting these games on Thursday night. Seriously.
Yeah, Thursday night game's been awful this year. But hey, nonetheless, coming up after this, the 76ers.
We have one good one.
The 76ers were off to a hot start this season, despite the injuries, despite COVID, wreaking havoc on the team. But ever since then, Joel Embiid out. They've dropped 4 straight. They were 8-2 last week. Today they sit 8-6, and the schedule without Joel Embiid just gets tougher. And what's it looking like for Ben Simmons? Tyrese Maxey looks pretty good. Who can you trade Ben Simmons for? And is Damian Lillard slowly becoming a feasible option once again? Stay tuned.
We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom-designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewer's choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode.
All right, let's kind of recap it. It's been quite a crazy week for the 76ers. Last year, tons of games would have been canceled. This year, for whatever reason, they have not decided to cancel games, although it's kind of predictable that some of these other guys are going to get COVID from the others. To start with Tobias Harris, but Sixers went on to beat the Bulls 114-105. Embiid then goes out with COVID. They lose to the Knicks. They lose to the Bucks. Both respectable close games. Then they lose to the Raptors. They lose to the Pacers. Listen, those are 4 good teams. At least in the past couple of years they've been. Pacers have been decent over the years. Last year, tough year. Raptors obviously have been a good team over the years. The Bucks are defending champions, and the Knicks have been very good and are only getting better. Here's the scores of those games. The differences. They lost by 7 to the Knicks, 9 to the Bucks, 6 to the Raptors, and 5 to the Pacers. So they're not getting blown out without Joel Embiid in there. But it gets tougher now. They go into the Jazz, the Nuggets, the Blazers, the Kings, and Gavin's Warriors next week before they return home next Saturday against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then the Magic at home, and then they're back on the road. They currently sit at 8-6. That's 2.5 games back of the Washington Wizards in first place, and that currently makes them the 7th seed. But don't panic. The Bucks are 6-8 at the 11th seed. The Celtics are 7-7 at the 9th seed. And just from more craziness, the Cavaliers are somehow the 5th seed at 9-6. It's very early in the year, but right now the Sixers can't afford to drop too many games. But again, the Ben Simmons saga is still in the background, but no one's talking about it right now. He was fine the other day. There's some more reports coming out. I'm ignoring it at this point. Tyrese Maxey looks pretty good, but you got to get something for Ben Simmons at some point.
First of all, Zach, I'm not going to overreact to the Sixers because the Wizards are 10-3. Ladies and gentlemen, the Wizards are 10-3, and Bradley Beal hasn't played in, I think, the last 2 games. So let's pump the brakes. Zach, you're right. The Bucks are off to a slow start. Boston's off to a struggling start. And the Atlanta Hawks were off to a slow start. Now, these Sixers losses, they've been really close. The only game I think you could say the losses out of hand was the Bucks and the New York Knicks. But in all honesty, everything's been really respectable. The supporting cast that we have now with Yang and Maxey, who's really improved, who I really like this year. Seth Curry.
Puts a game.
The Sixers are going to be fine. when it comes to that, and when everybody gets back in health and hopefully and ready to go, especially Tobias Harris, coming off that COVID, they're gonna be fine. They're gonna be fine. It's gonna take a minute. Once the big man comes back, he'll be fine. He's probably gonna be a little bit rusty, but they're gonna be just fine. I don't see them being number one in the East. I don't see that. I will say this because I mean, you say we gotta get something for Ben Simmons. It's like I wouldn't even trade a bag of chips for Ben Simmons. I would. Damn. It's like I wouldn't do anything for Ben Simmons because the guy is going out sad. And ladies and gentlemen, this is another word I want to use, but I can't use that here. There's a way, and Zach, you being a businessman, you can conduct business way better than the way you're doing. You're not helping nobody. Now Rich Paul comes out and says, well, the Sixers are ruining Ben Simmons' mental health with the fines. No, idiot. They're fining him because he's not doing what he said they're going to. Like I honestly think the Sixers are gonna let it be if he was reporting to doctors. Why is it every time you fine Ben Simmons and he complies? So guess what, Zach? I'm gonna keep fining him. I hope he loses all this money, and at some point he'll realize, maybe I need to conduct business better. I guarantee you, Zach, the Sixers are gonna hit him with 3 straight fines in a row. 3 straight fines in a row, right? I don't know what you can find them on. I don't know if you can go by game based. I know they just fine for not showing.
They fine them per game, per different types of things, but most of them are going to be per game.
I don't think Ben Simmons has a mental problem. I really don't, and that's hard for me to say it because if you look at the recent athletes, I want to get your opinion on this. When you look at the recent athletes, look at guys like Simone Biles, Naomi Osaka, Calvin Ridley, Lane Johnson. They actually took time, and you could just see it. You could just see it in their performance, or in their, or just seeing them as a regular human being. Ben Simmons, in my personal opinion, and I hate saying this because I never like questioning people's mental state. I don't believe him. I really don't believe him, especially after all the instances that we've seen from athletes the past couple months. I really don't believe him. Zach, am I wrong to feel this way?
It doesn't sound great, but I see where you're coming from. Mental health is nothing to joke about.
Exactly.
In which case, if he's joking about it, or using it as an excuse, I think that's just a terrible thing to do. I'm not going to come out and say I don't believe him for having mental health issues, but if he had mental health issues and he wanted to get help, why won't he accept the Sixers' help? That's my only question to him. And until I find out more, I'm not going to make any more past judgment on it. But at this point, I'm not expecting Ben Simmons to wear a Sixers uniform again. And I've been very up and down about that, but I don't expect him to ever suit up.
Zach, I see Zach, for a person who doesn't take mental health, for a person that takes mental health seriously as well, I hate coming out and saying those remarks because every time he gets fined, Zach, magically Ben Simmons starts to comply. How am I supposed to sit here and say, well, that's legit? Like, how am I supposed to do that? I don't know how I could sit here as a fan, as a person that lives near the city, that loves the game of basketball, and says, so he was getting help but wouldn't report back to Sixers. The Sixers gave him help. They respected his decisions. I'm not mentally ready to play. It's like not mentally ready to play and having mental illness is some 2 totally different things. There's 2 totally different things. Whatever Calvin Ridley is going through, I wish him nothing but the best. Whatever Simone Biles went through, I wish him nothing but the best. That's mental illness. That saying I'm not mentally ready to play is something totally different. I don't understand that. I'm not a doctor, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just sitting here as a fan, trying to process what's going on. Because as of right now, Zach, I'm not a firm believer, and I hate saying that, but I'm just not a firm believer.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not something to joke about. It really isn't. But at this point, I don't know what to say anymore. It's a really tricky situation. It's only getting more tricky. So, that being said, Gavin, let's talk about the next few games the Sixers are going to play on the West Coast and predict these games. Leading up to the next time we're on, the only game that we see that will happen between now and Thursday, Utah Jazz, 76ers in Utah. As far as I know, the Jazz are pretty much fully healthy. I expect the Jazz to win tonight. They're a good regular season team. And the Sixers, once again, are without the MVP runner-up Joel Embiid.
It's like I got the Jazz handily tonight. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like your Lakers, but I think it's going to be a respectable, close game where the role players come out, do their job, but there is not going to be enough.
Yeah, we'll see. George Niang's return to Utah. But again, it's going to be a tough one for Philly tonight. So, with that being said, let's take a look at the standings. Gavin, as you had mentioned, the Wizards are currently at the 1. The Bulls are at the 2. Brooklyn has risen to 3. Miami was hotter, has fallen off a little bit at 4. Cleveland at 5. The Knicks at 6. Sixers at 7. And the Hornets at 8. The Celtics and the Raptors currently on the bubble. And the notable teams out of it, Bucks, Hawks, Pacers, and the Pistons and Magic. They share they share the dungeon. Detroit tends to be doing that in every league. Though on the Western Conference side, Golden State Warriors, Phoenix Suns, Dallas Mavericks, Denver Nuggets, Utah Jazz, LA Clippers, LA Lakers, and Grizzlies with the Blazers and the Kings on the outside. Gavin, the Blazers are below 500. Their president just resigned. How long will Damian Lillard's loyalty be tested for?
I don't know, Zach, because it's in his blood. Zach, remember he had offers in college, and he got hurt, and all of his scholarship offers went away. But the one school that stuck with him, he went to, and it wasn't a high college, but he stuck with him. He said, because you guys were with me through the downfall or through my rough moments, I'm gonna ride it out with you guys. At this point, it's like I'm really not believing that Damian Lillard is gonna get moved anywhere because he got the head coach he wanted. His team is underperforming, and
Yeah, but he's got to win. He's got to want to win at some point, right?
Zach, when
They caught lightning in a bottle 1 year, and they lost to the Warriors in 4 games. 4 games that they led in the third quarter at one point.
I understand it, but Zach, at the same time too, loyalty sometimes means a lot to people, and unfortunately, he is one of those guys. But you have to respect it. He's one of those guys that doesn't want to join. He thought about joining because there was talks of him going to LA. He thought about joining, but at the same time, he was one of those guys. Well, we were close before. Why can't we do it again? Zach, I think you're right. It is time to be over, but loyalty sometimes is everything to everybody.
I respect the loyalty a lot from Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, similar guys, but I don't know. It's a lot of testing. In Portland, too, it's going to want to look at they're wasting his career. If they're not able to build around him, they may have to just tear it down and build it back up. At what point will they do that? And will Damian Lillard allow that to even happen as they continue to sit in mediocrity? So, with that being said, let's continue talking about the Western Conference as a whole. The Kings 6-8, and then teams at the bottom. No surprises here: Rockets, Pelicans, Spurs, Timberwolves, and Thunder. The Pelicans, Gavin, 2-13. Zion Williamson slowly trying to work his way back. Is Zion enough to fix these problems in New Orleans?
Not a chance. Zach, he's going to come out and add wins to your team because of the force he is. But you get rid of Lonzo Ball, who was actually thought fit well there. Brandon Ingram hasn't played as well since he won Most Improved Player of the Year. It's not enough. It's not enough. I like Willie Green. I think he will do a better job when Zion Williamson comes back. But honestly, Zach, I think they took a step back instead of a step ahead.
Yeah, they had the first overall pick a few years ago. Zion got hurt, came back, a little bit of potential. Last year, they just completely flopped with Stan Van Gundy. One and done for him. New head coaching hire. We'll see how this works out for them, but I don't know. Doesn't look promising.
Can I just say my really early rookie of the year pick?
Go for it.
I got Jalen Green. And I got Scotty Barnes.
Yes, that's my pick from Toronto.
I got those two. I got Jalen Green and Scotty Barnes. Those are my two runner-ups right now.
I like Barnes. I think he was right under the radar. They 4th overall. Everyone's like, who's this kid? But he looks good. But how about, speaking of former rookie of the years, how about Anthony Edwards?
The Ant-Man. I love Ant-Man
himself. Him and LaMelo Ball going back and forth for years to come, both of them growing as well. But also, quick shout out to Lonzo Ball as well, 44% from 3 this year. He is continuing to improve his game. Gavin, does Lonzo deserve more credit than he's gotten so far over the last couple of years of his career?
Oh yeah, it's time. It's time, Zach. It's time. The memes are over. The jokes are over. Lonzo's a new man, Zach. I'm really liking the tattoo arm sleeve he got going on right now. I like it. Zach, he's a new man now. He got great people around him with Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Kobe White coming off the bench, and Coach Billy Donovan. I like what's going on. And they don't have Vucevic. Zach, remember, Vucevic went down with an injury.
Went down with COVID, which he probably got from Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Just saying. As to why some of these games shouldn't be played. But, hey, you know what? Games will continue. With that being said, that's the basketball world for you. The LA teams banged up, trying to find a way to bounce back, but nothing too notable yet. It's still too early in the
The
season.
Lakers are not going anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first.
I say that I would say right now that by Christmas, we should have a much clearer idea of what the playoff picture looks like. So,
Zach, you got your pom-poms out or you put them away? I just need to know.
LeBron's out right now, so there's nothing to say.
I mean, it doesn't matter if he was there or not. But anyway, that's not for now. Not for now. Go ahead. I'm going to let you keep moving.
Coming up after this, 17 minutes from tip-off, Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets against Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. Gavin, I hope you have your popcorn. This will be a good one. We're going to preview it after this.
Would you like to know how you can support the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show? If so, head down to the comments on our YouTube channel. You will see 2 links there. The first is our Teespring, where you can see a wide variety of apparel products, including our signature product, the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show sweatshirts, offered in a variety of different colors, including gray, navy blue, and more. Finally, we have our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly donation member. 10% of all donations go towards an organization of our viewers' choice. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you can't donate, that's okay, because you can always share this.
Welcome back on the More Than Philly Sports Network, just talking about the Sixers around the NBA. We also touched on the Eagles and around the NFL. Gavin, Barclays Center, tonight, Brooklyn, New York. The Brooklyn Nets play host to the Golden State Warriors. It's going to be a good one. I know you're excited for it. Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, former teammates, both players of the week in their respective conferences, both playing at an MVP level. Gavin, break it down.
The hottest man on the planet, Zach, is Steph Curry. I think me and you both can agree. There's no contest to that. Versus one of the greatest scorers in the game. Zach, arguably, this game, we could be looking at finals preview. I'll come out and say, this right now,
I believe it.
This could be finals preview. And Zach, just to think about it, if Klay Thompson comes back at around 85% of his normal self, not 185%, it's over for the West. It's over. And then Zach, if Kyrie Irving would have come back too, and they start to mess and gel, and Zach, James Harden in the past 4 games, he's actually stepped it up. I think he's averaging over 20. I think he's 20 plus.
I'm going to confirm that, but yeah, he's been really adjusting well to the new rules.
Zach, this game tonight is going to have a lot of implications, and I'm excited to watch. It's on TNT, even better. Zach, I don't got to listen to ESPN talk about it. I mean, what else? What else can I say about it? The Warriors.
It's gonna be a good game. I'm excited for it.
You said this. You said this to me. I think it was 2 years ago. You said the Warriors being hurt was one of the worst but greatest things that could ever happen, because now the players that were there a couple years ago getting burned. Look at them now. Jordan Poole stepped up major. Andrew Wiggins is playing like a.
They had to be the guys the last few years. They've had to be the guys.
And they still don't have James Wiseman, who I'm still not pretty much sold on. Zach, the Warriors are back. And Brooklyn, on the other hand, they're not going to have Joe Harris tonight with an ankle injury. But, I mean, come on. This has finals written all over it.
Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins against Kevin Durant, James Harden and company. I think it's going to be a great game tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
What you got? Who you got tonight?
I'm gonna take Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn gets it done, turn some heads. They're really starting to get some momentum going their way after a tough start. They're 10-4. I think after tonight they're 11-4.
I'm gonna go Golden State, Zach. It's gonna be a close one. I got Steph Curry going for 30 tonight.
30. That's a given.
That's an understatement. That's
a given for Steph Curry. He's dropped 50 this year.
I'm only saying 30 because after a while I think Kevin Durant will check him. But I'm going with 30 for right now.
Yeah, we'll see 2 former teammates did
30 and 40. 30 and 40.
Did some great things together there in Oakland, technically back then, now San Francisco, where they are. But hey, with that being said, just double checking on the news, Penn State losing this weekend to Michigan. Gavin, I'm going to say it. I think everybody's been thinking it. I think James Franklin's checked out of that program, and I think it's time for them both to mutually part ways.
I don't disagree with you, Zach. And for everyone I told, all my Penn State friends, Zach, who sat here last week and said, when you lost to Iowa, it was over? Who said that? I think I did. Yeah, yours truly. James Franklin did check out, Zach. It's a shame that, because I actually thought this was going to be the year that Penn State was going to actually stay in the top 5, stay relevant, but they just miserably fell off the past couple weeks. And James Franklin, his time is done. I think it's time for a new mind of everything around. And Clifford, I don't know what happened to you, man. I really don't know.
The last 2 years has just not been good. Has not been good enough. The run game's been terrible. Jahan Dotson is kind of all they got on that offense.
It's a shame because I think about Journey Brown and what could have been an unfortunate situation. But Zach, at one point, Penn State was looked at as running back or RB1 because you had Saquon
We just had
Barkley.
Saquon, Miles Sanders.
And it was
They got Noah Kane, who was the top recruit of that class, which they didn't use at all on Saturday.
which is disappointing.
They had Journey Brown. Of course, we all know how that went down. It's just been an unfortunate run for Penn State, and they've been getting some good wide receivers developed so far. KJ Hamler a couple years ago, Jahan Dotson this year has looked really good. Is he as good as Chris Olave in that trio in Ohio State now? But they hold their own. They don't get blown out by top teams. They always hold their own, but they can't beat the teams that are definitively worse than them when they should. And that's been the story of Penn State. I think it's time for a reboot in Happy Valley. Cool experience for those who probably can tell. As we went throughout the show, my voice has probably gotten a little more scratchy. Yeah, I was involved all weekend. I was yelling.
There was nothing to scream about, though. There was nothing to scream about.
We got a few delayed games on Michigan. It was a cool experience. I definitely recommend it to anyone who isn't up there as a student. But overall, that's all I got.
I will say this because it does sound like I'm sounding mad haterish. I'm not, Zach. I get into a lot of debates with our good friend Adam over the week about Penn State, and but I do want to experience a whiteout. I do need to go to a whiteout game one night. I do need to try that. But Zach, there was something really screaming about. I predicted a blowout. I was wrong. It was actually closer than I thought. Actually, had a chance to win too.
Yeah, I had a good chance to win.
But Zach, I mean, see you next year, I guess. But nothing is great as a collapse, and our good friend Spencer Rattler. I mean, Zach, Oklahoma lost this weekend.
They did. Caleb Williams, who's looked good, got the start. They were down early. They never really had a chance to come back against Baylor. Oklahoma dropped down to 12 today. Baylor's up to 11. That's crazy. 8-2, Baylor. And they're one above the Oklahoma Sooners at 9-1. They've been waiting for it. The commission's been waiting for Oklahoma to lose the game because they don't believe that they're a good team. Spencer Rattler, 4-6, 36 yards, so really didn't play at all. Caleb Williams, 10-19, 146 yards, no TDs, and 2 interceptions. Tough game for him. He's had a decent year overall. After coming in for Rattler, I'm not a big fan of Rattler. We'll see how Oklahoma wraps up the year.
We still got to get in that one day. It's like I'm rolling with Georgia when it's all said and done. I got Georgia this year.
Give me Bama. Give me Bama.
Georgia's front, Zach, come on. Stop it.
Bama had one loss against the A&M team who had their number, but we'll see. We're getting closer to that time of year of the bowl games, the playoffs. We'll be here to cover it all and more. But with that being said, that about does it for us today. I want to thank you all for joining us here on the More Than Philly Sports Network. Gavin, anything else you wanted to say today?
You damn right I do, Zach. Did you see Paige Beckers over the weekend? We're just not going to say
36 points?
34 points. Zach, it looks scary. I'm looking at the tickets. I might have to go, Zach. We might have to figure out a way. We have to go watch this in person. And other news too, Zach. Sadly, the number 2 recruit in our class, Raven Johnson, went down with a knee injury for South Carolina, and she would miss the rest of the year. So that's unfortunate news to hear about. And Zach, Stanford lost this past weekend, so that gives me a little smile on my face to know that Stanford went down. But all in that, I got nothing else for you guys.
Look, it's been nonstop with the World Series, football starting, basketball starting, hockey starting. It's starting to slow down a little bit. We're in the meat and the potatoes of every single season. So we're slowed down. We're taking it as it comes. We're reviewing all the games. But trust me, Gavin, come late December, and yes, baseball too, fully slowed down. Phillies are still waiting to sign Carlos Correa. Maybe they'll do that soon.
Can we hold on a sec? Can we just talk about how Noah Syndergaard just went to LA and not even a chance? I like the idea of getting Starlin Marte. I do. We'll save that for another day. But as of right now, I didn't forget about this thing because Zach, it's my favorite time of year to watch the Phillies do absolutely nothing to help better themselves. But that's
the time of year to do it. Yeah, December is the time to do it. So going into Christmas time, just watching our sports, enjoying it. But Gavin, late December, January, college football playoffs start. We go into February. We start talking about spring training. NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl, of course, in February, and then basketball playoffs. So next 2 months are going to be exciting as they always are. But with that being said, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. Coming up in a few days, I promise we'll start getting our Christmas edition, holiday edition celebrations up on the show. Not yet, though, because we still got Thanksgiving. Unlike Gavin, I have some respect for the fall holidays.
Whoa. It's like I kind of think of Thanksgiving and Christmas as one. They're only 4 weeks
And we'll
apart.
see. As long as snow doesn't come on the ground, so I can go out and golf as much as I can.
I
But hey,
do want to put Christmas. I do have my Christmas tree up still from last year. I haven't took it down. I do use that at night.
possibly, man. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. We'll see you all soon. Have a good one.
Have a good one, everybody. Stay safe.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts of